Hey guys, it's Damien.
And I'm Kenady.
And thank you so much for joining us. Now, if this is your first time, we give tips and advice to help you cultivate healthy relationships from A to Z. Now, please like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel so this message can go around the world. And please follow us on Instagram at Damien and Kenady. That's Damien and Kenady spelled out.
So last week we talked about how to love your significant other when their heart hurts. And so today we're going to talk about the other side of that, how to love when your heart hurts. Now, we're no, counselors or therapists. We do know that we have gone through this and that grief is a part of the human experience. And so when we were dating and an engagement, we both lost people in our family. And so these are just things that God has placed on our heart to share with you on how to navigate through that while you still love your significant other. So go ahead.
So number one is learning how you mourn. Learning how you mourn. Now, mourning looks differently on different people. It also is different in different seasons of our lives. But also in certain circumstances, mourning looks different. Let's say somebody is close to you and is about to pass away. It might look different than a friend passing away or a tragic death or somebody who's been sick. So mourning looks different on different people. And also when you're mourning, some people are more expressive and some people are more reflective. Now me, I'm more reflective. I like to just think about the good times and the times I had with that person. So you really want to learn how you mourn, which leads us into our second point.
Number 2 is communicating to your significant other how you mourn. And I know this might be a little trying as, you're going through this tragedy or whatever it may be and this hurt. That's probably the last thing you're wanting to do is communicate. But it's so important to, and maybe not be right then when it happens, but along the way, inviting your significant other in and showing them how they can best serve you in this season. And even how you mourn. Maybe you're one that just sit with me, but don't talk. Don't try and preach to me. I just need you to be there and just mourn with me. Or you're someone that wants somebody to come and maybe hold you or just talk with you. And so there's just things that you want to communicate with. And then also inviting them in and not isolating yourself, especially for too long, because the enemy will try and get in your head and speak lies to you. And you want to have a community in your significant other, be there for you and pray for you, war for you, and even serving you in practical ways. Maybe you're hungry and you don't have time to go to the grocery store because you're dealing with something. Maybe that's something you can communicate to your significant other, or needing to mail some things off. That's something that they can help carry the load while you're dealing through this and not having to walk it alone.
One of the things that I think me and Kenady did, I know me and Kenady did in our dating process and courting, was talk about mourning before it happens. And so I know this is a weird question of how do you mourn? So we don't want to shock our significant other and catch them off guard on how we mourn. And so this is a real good question that you can ask in the courting process before these things, because like we said, loss will hit each of us in our lives.
Yeah, awesome. So what's number 3?
So number 3 is don't rush the grieving process. Go through it. Now, what are some of the symptoms of grief? Grief can look like a lot of crying, very strong headaches, sleepless nights. And sometimes you ask yourself questions like, why am I here? Is life even worth living? These are some of the symptoms of grieving. But when you look and study grief, there are some scientists that says there's 5 stages, 6 stages, or even 7 stages. But I want to give and go through 5 simple stages that we go through when we are grieving. So number 1 is the denial and isolation stage. This is when we push people away. This is when we deny that reality is reality. Is this really happening? This can't be happening to me. And you're denying that the person is sick or the person is passing away. Number 2 is what hits us a lot, and it's the anger stage. This is where you start saying life sucks. This is not even fair. Why can't God really heal this person right now? Or one of the things we say is, why me? Why me? Why am I going through these things? So many times we get to blame God, and I really caution you here of blaming God. That's no blame should go to God. We should always praise God, even if it hurts. We should always praise Him, and so
can question Him.
Yeah, but we can question Him, like Kennedy said. We can
honest,
just have an honest heart, and say, why is this happening? But really try to stay away from blaming God.
Yeah.
Number 3 is the bargaining stage. And this is where we say, God, if you heal this person, I will. If you heal this person, I will read my Bible more. I will spend time with them. I will call them. I will even go to church or give tithes and offering. Grief can happen before the person passes away. In this stage, we see this a lot, where you say you become a better person if God heals. We actually see this in the Bible in Judges 11 with Jephthah. And he's trying to bargain with God for the victory. And he says, God, if you give me this victory, I'm going to sacrifice whatever comes out the house. I'm going to sacrifice this thing to you. And the thing is, Jephthah with his army goes and gets the victory. But when he returns home, the first person to come out his house was his only daughter. You see, it's tough to make these vows because you have to keep them with the Lord. And if you don't keep them, there's a curse that comes on your house. And so Jephthah had to sacrifice his daughter. Be careful when you bargain with God. Number 4 is the depression stage. This is the stage where you feel the emptiness, you feel the numbness, you actually feel like you don't want to eat or even sleep. This is a tough stage, but sometimes we have to go through it. But like Kennedy said, we need to learn how to invite people into this moment, because the enemy will start giving you the lies. One of the things that was happening to me, and this was after my father passed away, was the enemy was giving me the lie that God was a disappointing God. In this depression stage, in this loneliness, in this numbness stage, he continued to say that God was a disappointing God. And I had to use the scriptures to erase the lies of the enemy. Number 5 is the acceptance stage. This is when you say, okay, this is reality now, and I will be okay, and I will get through this because God is on my side. God is here with me. The Bible tells us that the Lord will never leave us or forsake us. And this is a time where we just dig right back into the Bible more and more and say, look, I'm going to be okay and I will get through this. And sometimes it's a collective effort. We will get through this. Please share this part of the message with other people who might be going through this, and replay it for yourself. Because we all go through those grief stages.
Yeah. Number 4 is don't let your significant other take the place of God. In those moments of heartache and emptiness and void and pain, sometimes we can seek our significant other, especially if we're not married, to fill those voids with sexual immorality. Yeah. Maybe just wanting that touch, that love, that tangible love to ease the pain. And even if you're married, sometimes that can look differently, where you're seeking other things like pornography or entertainment from other people that are not your spouse, just to ease the pain as you push away everybody else who loves you. And so really, really important not to use people to fill the only place that God can heal. And so he's the only one who can ease the pain, who can fill the void of that loved one or that loss that you dealt with, but not a person. You're putting them on a pedestal that only God belongs on. So try not to allow them to take that place and ease the pain, even with whether it's sex, drugs, alcohol, anything that's tangible to kind of numb it. Allow the pain to be there, allow to feel that pain, and inviting God in there to heal and be with you.
Which leads us to number 5, worship God through the pain. Worship God through the pain. And I know this is very tough, but this is what me and Kennedy did at the quote unquote celebrations of the passing of my father and her grandfather. At my father's homegoing celebrations, we had the artist Pat Barrett sing Good, Good Father. And this is one of my father's favorite songs. And we worship God through it all. And also at Kennedy's grandfather's homegoing, her cousin Carlton Pitts sung a wonderful song, and it was just so powerful, and we worship God through it all. And so it doesn't just stop there. It's actually worshiping God after the transition. And so we look towards the Bible and who was our mentor in worshiping God through pain, and David. David in 2 Samuel 12:16-23. Please go read this story. But his son is passing away. He is fasting. He's praying. He's not eating. He's like prostrate on the ground. His servants can't get him up. And after 7 days, his son passes away, and he is in this place where he doesn't know what to do. And he sees his servants whispering, and he recognized, man, my son is dead. And so he asks his servants, is my son dead? And his servant said, yes, he is. And then it says in verse 20, then David arose from the earth and washed and anointed himself and changed his clothes. And he went into the house of the Lord and worship. David worshiped. And so I think at the end of mourning and through grief, what we need to do is to worship God.
Yeah, I love what I read earlier today about Isaiah 61:3, where it says he will trade heaviness for a garment of praise. And so whatever you may be going through, God is going to see you through. Invite him in. Don't push him out. Because I saw a quote where it said, when we push God out of pain and depression, we are rejecting the only true thing that can heal us. And so there's no right way to do walking through grief and loving, but we do know that Christ is the only answer. And so allowing him in, and it's so beautiful that we serve a God who dealt with grief as well. When Jesus was here on the earth, he grieved, he lost loved ones, and he was beaten and bruised and rejected. And so we serve a God who knows what we're dealing with. And so seek that comfort in him and allowing his love to transcend in you so you can continue to love others in your and love God as well. So
I hope you enjoyed these 2 videos. Please like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel, again, because we want this message to go around the world. And please follow us on Instagram at Damien and Kenady. That's Damien and Kenady spelled out. Again, my name is Damien Nash.
And I'm Kenady Nash.
And we'll see you next time. Bye.